In the Money is made possible by financial support from Old National Bank and Chicagoans like you. Thank you.
Good evening, Chicago, and welcome to In the Money. I'm your host, Tamara Durbin, and I'm excited to have you with us tonight. In this episode, we're talking about most people's favorite financial topic, building wealth. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is by creating multiple income streams. I recently came across a quote that really stuck with me. The key to financial freedom and great wealth is a person's ability to convert earned income into passive income and portfolio income. That got me thinking, how many of us, including myself, are truly maximizing the income we already have? Some people build wealth through their 9-to-5 jobs, others through entrepreneurship, investments, or a mix of all three. But no matter where you start, there's more than one way to bring money into your financial house. Tonight's episode is all about uncovering those pathways. We'll explore different types of income streams. Some you may already have without realizing their potential, and others you can create with a little effort and strategy. We have two incredible guests who will give us a peek into their financial journeys, real stories, real strategies, and real inspiration to help you take your income to the next level. So whether you're looking to grow what you have or start something new, tonight's conversation will give you ideas and insights to help you take the next step toward building wealth. After the break, I'll be joined by economist and real estate investor James Morris to discuss his pathway to building wealth. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Robin Robinson. This week on In Other News, I'll sit in conversation and community with Vondale Singleton, founder of Champs Male Mentoring, a Chicago-based organization using culturally relevant conversations and experience, as well as one of his partners in this work, Kareem Quo Wells. Join the conversation on CAN-TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN-TV Plus app. Hyper-local news and critical analysis. You should experience the power of community television.
Welcome back. My first guest is James Morris, economist, author, and real estate investor. Welcome back, James.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
So glad to have you to talk about this important topic that I know that you know a lot about. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about your story and how you got started in building wealth and building multiple streams of income?
Yes, excellent question. I learned from my uncle who bought his first investment property at the young age of 21. Okay. And I observed wealth building and learned from him about how one property can purchase other properties and businesses. So he went from one 3-flat building to a house in South Holland, to a car wash, a restaurant, a hair salon, a clothing store. And at that point, I was just like, okay, I'm into this real estate thing.
So he used real estate to not only just invest in real estate, but to purchase other businesses.
Right, and that's the hidden secret, is that's the true form of wealth building. And you can always leverage your assets. And as those properties appreciate, then we do what we call a cash out refinance, and you're using that property to buy another asset, producing asset.
Break it down for us. What do your streams of income look like? What are your multiple streams, or the ways that money flows to your financial house?
All right, great question. First is my earned income, you know, and that's your regular job, your W-2 job.
Okay.
And then I use that job to purchase my first investment property.
Okay.
And that became my passive income. And then throughout the years, I began to build my, portfolio of active, which is fix and flip rehabs, to long-term buy and hold, which is passive. And because I had several numbers of properties. Then I started my own property management company to manage my properties. Then I started my real estate consulting and online course to teach other people how to buy investment properties. So now you have your speakers, your consultation, and then I wanted to document it, so I authored a few books. And with authoring those books, I made it so simple that you can explain it to a child, that I put my children in the books, and then it created a business for them. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So I'm glad that you said it like that in that order, because you started with your regular 9 to 5, your earned income, and then based on your passion and what you learned from your uncle, you started your real estate, and you've used that to multiply your real estate assets, but also dovetail into other things, but they're all still kind of related and connected.
Yes. Yeah.
So they all work together. So for our viewers, that say, okay, I want to grow my income streams, what would be the first step or recommendation that you would make to them to help them get started building their income streams?
Education, like investing in yourself first, and that was something I did. So reading books, taking classes, and for me, like, confidence is going to come from the competence. So I even enrolled at the local college, and I took the carpentry classes, the electrical classes, the plumbing classes, the home repair. Because if you're going to be in real estate, I'm going to have conversations with contractors. I need to know, one, how to do it myself, up until the point to where I've scaled so much that I can no longer do it myself, but then I can tell them, and then I can price it differently. So it makes it easier for me to recognize, like, what is a good deal, because I know what it takes to want to build up a portfolio and how to add value. And then you have knowledge about the local economy, like, what can you charge for rent? Or what are some other streams of income you can add to this property to increase the income? And that could be, garage parking, storage, or laundry facilities. You just keep building.
That's a good point. Be educated and really learn about what you're trying to use to build, if it's a business, your wealth. How do you balance all of these income streams?
You know what? I have a system and I have a team.
Okay.
So I have a general contractor, I have maintenance people, I have a property management software, and I have alerts. So you think about, you have a calendar. So it doesn't require much effort. Initially up front, yes, but then when you have a system and it's smooth, like, tenants aren't calling me, they have other points of contact and people to contact.
Okay.
And I have a realtor that does the showings and the lease signings. And now with technology, I have a camera system so I can just check in and pop and see what's happening. I have online payments set up, electronic lease signing. Gone are the days where you have to physically see a tenant and meet a tenant.
You're saying that that's not necessarily what you have to do these days.
I'm saying a lot of my tenants have never seen me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I do pop up, one lady was like, "Who are you?" And I was just like, "I just work for them." Like,
Or sometimes people say there's a magic number of income streams that people should have. Do you believe that there's a magic number that people should have?
I think a minimum is 3, but I also believe that it depends on your financial goals and your why. So for me, when it started out, it was like, I'm going to have a property for every child. And then it can manifest to, I'm going to have a property for every bill or every expense, or I'm going to fund their college. And what is that going to look like, and what is that going to cost? Because your real estate is your bank. I don't have to go to the bank. I just look at a property and be like, it's your turn to take care of a bill.
For those who are watching and they say, okay, I want to get started with building my income streams, but they don't know how to do it, or the best ones to kind of start with, what would be your advice of which ones to easily start with? Let's say they already have earned income, but like, what's the other streams that you would say, okay, for them to consider as to get started? And then, are there any practical steps or resources that you would offer as advice to our viewers to get started?
Okay. Yeah, so first, home ownership, right?
Okay.
If you look at every millionaire, they have some form of real estate in their portfolio. You're either paying rent or you're collecting rent. And with the grants that are available, it's very easy to access some real estate. Second, think about your gift. And your gift is, what comes easy to you but is difficult to others. You know, and can you monetize that? Like everyone has a story and everyone has a path, and you can write your story and people are interested in you, in your story.
Yes.
That's easy to make you an author, and then you become a speaker. Because now that you are an author, that's your
can speak
business
on the
card,
book.
and now you're getting paid to speak. And then you're training people, and that's another income. You know, and then it's everyone should be investing in the stock market, you know, and that's your dividend income and your interest income. You know, so you're thinking about all of these streams, and when you break it down, it's simple. Like, think about baseball. Every pitch is not a good pitch, and every hit doesn't have to be a home run, but you have the ability to walk, to bunt, to single, and then when you see the right pitch, occasionally you'll get a home run.
That's good advice. Thank you, James, for your insight and wisdom. I know our viewers are ready to take the bull by the horn and go build those income streams. After a quick break, we'll go out in real life with attorney and entrepreneur Michon Stuttley to continue the conversation. In the Money continues on the other side of a short break. Stay with us.
I'm Andy Zopp, the host of Chicago Newsroom 2.0. Every week, we gather for insightful conversations with local journalists and community leaders as we discuss the news of the day and how it impacts the lives of Chicagoans. Join the conversation on CAN-TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN-TV Plus app. Hyperlocal news and critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
Thank you, Michon, for allowing me to bring our viewers in real life to one of your income streams, Miss Catwalk.
No problem.
For those that don't know, you are known in those social media streets as the Billionaire Brownie. So of course I had to come, when we were talking about this topic, I had to come talk to you because I believe that your story can be inspirational to our viewers. Can you share with our viewers how you got started with your wealth building journey and what inspired you to create multiple streams of income?
Interestingly enough, I've always been one to multitask. So even started very young in sports. I was in gymnastics, ice skating, reading multiple books at the same time. So it just made sense that I would have multiple businesses, right? So I started off as a probation officer, and I eat, sleep, breathe, dream fashion. Yes. Fashion was like...
She does.
It's like something I don't even think of. It's just like second nature to me. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to open this store. So that's what I did. Originally in Bucktown, and then I branched off to Oak Brook, and then I think from there I opened the South Loop store, and then I opened Water Tower, and then Woodfield. But then COVID hit. Mm-hmm. Right. So it was like, okay, I got to pull myself out of these malls and restructure and figure out, okay, now that everybody's sitting at home, what are we doing? How can I keep income coming in, right? Yeah. So I had already graduated law school, and I was thinking, what's next, But with my law degree, it was so easy to pivot into other things. Yeah. So with being a lawyer, I was already doing some real estate law, which probably piqued my interest into property. So
I'm seeing a progression here of how different things are dovetailing into businesses which generate income streams.
I think it's everyone's dream to buy something, flip it, or buy something and hold it, and have get a 2-flat multi-income property where they can live in the bottom and the other people are paying the rent. So it was always like that in the back of my mind that I wanted to start that. But I think real estate, being active in real estate law, helped me, kind of drove me into that path. Yeah.
So you're a probation officer.
Correct.
You're an attorney.
Correct.
So you do cases in real estate?
Correct.
Do you do other areas too?
I do. My specialty is actually intellectual properties. So
Okay, and then IP law too. And then you have Miss Catwalk.
correct.
And then you do buy and hold or you flip? Which one do you do?
I do both.
So, and she does, okay, so she
Yes.
does real estate.
Yes.
So that shows that you do all these different things, but it seems like they all kind of flow into each other.
They do,
except for your
actually.
fashion, but that's
Yes.
just your probably delved out of your passion for
Correct.
fashion. How do you balance growing your income without feeling overwhelmed?
It's hard to put into words because and people ask me a lot of times, how do you do it?
Yeah, I always wonder it too when I'm
And
looking
I
at you.
don't know. I promise you, if I knew, I would have a book out. I promise you. I don't know. I just do it. I don't even think about it.
Some of your income streams, you have to be an active participant. Do you have any income streams that are more passive for you?
I do, like the store. Like, so I feel like, it's a finely tuned machine now. I have, a great assistant who helps me. Linda's great. She pretty much knows everything. She knows more than I do about this store. So great staff, a good product, great, it all helps to create this vehicle that moves without you. So I don't have to be at the store. Because people ask me, when are you there? I'm like, well, if you drive by at 10 p.m. to 1.
Or if you follow her on Instagram, you will see.
Absolutely.
What she'll say, she's dressing this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
mannequins.
And a lot of times that is after hours.
Yes.
But I've tried to work it enough to where it runs without me.
Yeah.
So that's the goal, right? And I know people, yes, a regular 9-to-5 helps fuel these for a while, but the goal is to not work hard for money.
When things happen, how have you built your income streams that if one slows down, then the other, did you think about that when you were dovetailing into it, or just derived from your passion and what you were going into?
So some of it derived from my passion, but I think COVID opened our eyes up to new ways to create income. People were at home and they're like, look, I can start this podcast. I can create whatever. I mean, people are like making money on the internet is, it runs the gamut. So, so I think that's where I kind of branched out and started changing and started not focusing so much on earned income, but more passive income, like, interest income or capital gains income or,
So she's talking about investing.
Yes, yes.
Saving.
I mean, right. So, like you hone in on cryptocurrency or you look into these stocks or, royalties. A lot of people were doing books and I've even thought about it. It's still in the back of my mind, but maybe a book that you sell, but you write that book one time and it keeps selling,
going.
So royalty income, some residual income, anything where you don't have to, the goal is not to have a bunch of earned income
that you have to
that you exchanging time for money.
So we might have some viewers that say, you know what, she's got my wheels turning. And I think I want to start to really look at my income streams and how I can start to do that for myself. What piece of advice would you give them to get started, or how to really look at their life and assess, okay, what income streams will work best for me?
So I think I would tell people to think about something that they're passionate about or something, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be a passion, but what is something that you like to do and monetize that. See if you can monetize it, because that will make it just so much easier. It won't feel like another job. It won't feel like, it's something you will enjoy and then the money will come.
Every community has a story, a pulse, a voice waiting to be heard. At CAN TV, we bring these stories to life, from the heart of Chicago to your living room. Join us in supporting hyper-local television. Your backing helps us cover what matters directly in our communities, unfiltered and upfront. Help tell the important stories of our communities, Become a program underwriter today.
Joining me now for this week's Money Matters is Old National Bank's Director of Financial Empowerment, Ben Juergens. Welcome back, Ben.
Thanks, Tamara. It's good to be back.
Let's continue our conversation about building wealth with income streams. So let's start with the basics. We kind of touched on this in the previous segment, but I want you to dive a little deeper into talking about what is interest income and what is dividend income.
Yeah.
I know some people feel like, oh, that's just for the wealthy people,
Right.
but can you break it down for
Yeah,
our
it's a big
viewers?
misconception that's out there. It's like I have to have all this money to earn it, but interest income is simply, you're lending money to like a bank and they're paying you a certain percentage, usually a fixed rate every month or every year or whatever it might be. So it's really when you let them borrow your funds, they're going to pay you a flat amount back. When you look at dividend income, it's really when you own shares of stock. Companies earn profits and then they pay people that own shares of stock a certain portion back, and that's what we really look at from the dividend side.
And then let's talk about a little bit about that interest income. What are some common ways people are already earning interest income, and how can they maximize
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't even know that they're doing it, right? So if you have a bank account somewhere and you have a savings account, they're probably paying you interest on that account. And interest is defined as the cost to borrow money. So the bank essentially borrows your money, and for that they're going to say, hey, Tamara, we're going to pay you a little bit back, right? Ways to maximize that interest income is looking for things like high yield savings accounts and shopping around at the different lenders to see who's paying the most interest to really maximize on that opportunity. Could be CDs as well.
So your money can be making money while it's sitting in the bank.
Oh, that's the beauty of it.
And even when we talk about interest income, can you just talk a little bit about the risk of interest income?
Yeah, with interest income, there's not a lot of risk. I mean, you're really minimizing the opportunity, because if I do a CD or a certificate of deposit, people a lot of times wonder, what are these? They're not the round things that you and I used to put in our cars, right? But these are certificates where they're going to hold your money for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And usually the longer it is out, the more interest they're going to pay you, because they can borrow your money longer. But really, there's not much risk at all, because they're pretty much promising to pay you that interest rate over a period of time, so very low risk.
All right. And let's talk a little bit about dividend income. Some people, they're like, okay, I'm not a stock market pro, but can you explain a little bit more about what dividends are? I know you talked about it. This is what the companies pay you when you have stock in them. And how can someone at any income level start to earn dividend income?
Right. You don't have to be a millionaire to earn that dividend income. I always think back to the movie Mr. Deeds when I was growing up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Adam Sandler, he bought one share of stock that you could do. And you have ownership in a company when you own stock. So essentially, if a company does well and you have bought a share of stock, or you bought stocks that pay dividends or mutual funds, a lot of times they will, when they make a profit, return that back to their shareholders saying, thank you for investing in us. We've done well. Here's a little bit back for you as well. So it's a great way to not only have ownership, but receive some additional income from them as well.
And when they're looking at stock, is it important for them to see, because not all stocks pay dividends?
Right, correct.
So what would they look at?
Yeah, you're going to look at stocks that are dividend-paying stocks or mutual funds. These are typically ones. But talking with a financial advisor to get some guidance, I think, is great. And there's some online platforms that allow people to come in at a smaller. You're putting in a smaller amounts. You don't have to have the big amounts necessarily. So there's a lot of those platforms. But I think having that relationship with your advisor or a banker, they can give you some insight on which ones would be best if you're looking for that dividend income.
When you actually invest and you're earning interest income and dividend income, there's an option, as they're paying you the interest and the dividends. Is it good for people to reinvest or cash out and use it?
Yeah, so let's define that real quick, right? Cashing out means that they've made a great profit. I want to sell the stock and get some cash back, right? Well, I'm probably going to pay taxes on that for one. Reinvest means let's just keep my profits rolling. Like, if you're at the casino, which I don't recommend, always doing that, but it's kind of like saying, do I take my money or do I just keep putting it in? Now, when I'm looking at long-term investing strategies, I'm a big fan of reinvesting that dividend because you're growing on the concept of compounding that interest over time. But I think it's really good to diversify your portfolio. So look at different options, and maybe it's not always a bad idea to cash some stock out if you need it for necessary purposes, so you don't have to take out a loan or something like that. But I think it really is diversifying the portfolio. But for me, I'm a big fan of reinvesting it so that when I need it, I can use it long term. Don't make a quick decision too fast.
Yeah, me too. Ben, I have to ask you to do a dad joke for our viewers. So today, the word for our dad joke is going to be wealth.
Okay. So well, we've talked a lot about investing, and some of my friends who are the most successful investors, they're actually Irish. And you know why? Irish are really good at investing. Their money's always doubling. That's terrible.
That was good, Ben. On the other side of a break, we'll close out the show with this week's money moment. We're back in 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm Robin Robinson. This week on In Other News, I'll sit in conversation and community with Vondale Singleton, founder of Champs Male Mentoring, a Chicago-based organization using culturally relevant conversations and experience, as well as one of his partners in this work, Kareem Quo Wells. Join the conversation on CAN-TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN-TV Plus app. Hyperlocal news and critical analysis. You should experience the power of community television.
The good book says, but divide your investments among many places, for you do not know what risk might lie ahead. That wisdom is just as relevant today, maybe even more so. We've all heard the saying, don't keep your eggs in one basket. And when it comes to income, that couldn't be more true. When one stream slows down, having others flowing can keep your financial house steady. After losing my husband and having to reorganize my financial house, I realized just how important it was to have multiple streams of income. Year by year, little by little, I've made it a financial goal and priority to strengthen mine. And that's why things like budgeting and eliminating consumer debt are so important. They free you up to focus on building those income streams. But building wealth isn't just about security, it's about freedom. It's about enjoying life without stress or debt and being able to pass resources on to the next generation. I hope tonight's episode opened your eyes to new possibilities and inspired you to take action. The truth is, you probably already have the foundation to start or grow your income streams. You just have to recognize the potential in your own financial house. Before we wrap, here are your action steps from this week's episode. Number 1, learn all the income streams: earned income, business income, interest income, dividend income, rental income, capital gains, and royalties and licensing. Number 2, assess where you are. What income streams do you already have? Which ones do you want to add or grow? Number 3, create your personal strategy. Wealth building isn't one size fits all. Focus on the income streams that make sense for your financial house. And as I always say, don't be afraid to ask questions and get help from a trusted source. Your financial future is in your hands, and the journey starts with the steps you take today. Join us next week as we're back in the lab to discuss managing money after loss. We'll also be back with an all-new edition of Money Matters with Ben Juergens. If you have any questions about today's topic or any financial question, send them to me. Email me at tamara@moneybasicsonline.com or follow me on Instagram at IamMoneyBasics. Also follow my guests on social media. I would love to keep this conversation going, so let's connect. Remember, we are on this journey together to get, stay, and grow in the money. See you next time.